Oh, man, what is happening? Derek Carr is rumored or reportedly going to be signing a deal with the New Orleans Saints. Expected to get the deal finalized as early as today. I have a poll in the live chat. I'm curious to see where Jet fan base is at. The New York Jets, the two options. No Rodgers is coming, or drop the ball. The top free agent is off the board. A guy that seemingly had a really good connection or rapport with the New York Jets in his meeting, met with the Jets twice. Did the Jets drop the ball? Or do the Jets think Rodgers is definitely coming? Now, I'm hoping for Rodgers coming at this point, because if Carr going to New Orleans Saints means anything, I'm hoping Joe Douglas picked up the phone and said, hey, look, you're a great quarterback. We're going to go in another direction. I'm panicked. Like slightly, like Aaron Rodgers is just such a wild card. And I think with Carr going to New Orleans, there's this weird fear in the back of my mind that's like, oh, Rodgers is just going to say, oh, nope, I'm going to retire now. Like, I'm done. Like, screw it, not happening. I need to get that off my head, because I think Aaron Rodgers is definitely going to come to the New York Jets. I think that is on lock. I think we find out either today that he's coming back, and then tomorrow on the Pat McAfee show where he wants to go, or we find out in the next day or two, everything lumped together. Because that's going to be a hard secret to keep. If Rodgers wants to come back, he's going to tell the Packers first, which means that news is going to get out real fast. I don't think he'd just say the Jets. I mean, maybe we hear the Jets first. I think we'll hear he wants to come back first, and then it'll be to the Jets. We'll see. We got like a week and a half till free agency, so we're all panicked. Moose City says, we effed up. That's the fear, right? Like, did the Jets just allow a free agent to walk out the door that could have been a really good fit for the New York Jets? You wouldn't have to give up any draft picks. The rumored contract wasn't going to be that crazy. I'm predicting Carr's looking at 4 years, $160 million, probably fully guaranteed or close to it. I think when you get a quarterback on the open market, you know what? Maybe not. Maybe it depends how. I heard lukewarm as the term used to describe Carr's feelings around the NFL. So maybe he's not getting that. Maybe he's only getting like a 2-year, $100 million plus, extra years. But I think it's going to wind up being like a 4-year 160. I think it's gonna look bigger than it may ultimately end up being. But he gets to go back with his former coach. He goes to an easy division in the NFC South. He immediately becomes the top quarterback in that division until Lamar Jackson winds up getting traded to Baltimore, and then he's got to put up with that. Getting traded to Atlanta from Baltimore. But the New York Jets, did we drop the ball? The New York Jets had the opportunity, had Carr in the building, met with him twice. Now, if Rodgers doesn't come, oh man, this fan base might implode. I know, I'm going to go nuts. I'm going to lose my damn mind. I'm going to be so upset. You guys are going to say, same old Jets. We're going to hear it over and over again. We need Rodgers to come. I'm hoping Douglas knows something about Rodgers, and that's why Carr wound up leaving and walking to another team. Perry says, they must know Rodgers is coming and just working out the details. I feel like they've had a trade in the works for a while. And I don't know if this, does Carr signing with the Saints create more leverage for the Packers? Or did the Jets already make the decision with the Packers, like, hey, this is going to wind up being the move. Let's tell Carr. Carr can go sign where he wants. Now Rodgers gets all the attention. He gets to choose where he's going to go. And it's going to be this whole big thing. I hope it's that. Some guy says Rodgers will be a Raider. I don't think so. Jordan says panic mode activated. Let's hope for A-Rod. Nick Russo said, where did you hear Carr to the Saints? Adam Schefter says he's meeting with the Saints. And Ari, or what am I going to pronounce that name wrong? What was it? Ari something or other. I don't know what it is offhand. I had it up on the screen 2 seconds ago. Where is it? I could pull it up. Wham! Ari Mitrov. So if you see, breaking, Saints are in talks on a deal with Derek Carr, and the expectation is a deal gets finalized per multiple reports. Carr is off to New Orleans. Ugh. Gives me indigestion. Travis comes in. Says, are we sure this isn't a ploy by Carr to get the Jets to come get him? No deal can be finalized till next week, and we've seen free agents flip Anthony Barr. Derek Carr can sign immediately. He was a free agent because he was cut by his team. He doesn't have to wait for the new league year to start and his contract to expire. He's actually able to sign anywhere. So deals can be signed right now. Jamie Diaz says, weird how Fowler report came out last night about Carr's preference to the Jets, and now we wake up to this. Yeah, he was definitely using the New York Jets as a way to get more money out of the Saints. I think the Saints realized they weren't going to move forward with Jameis Winston, and Carr was going to be their best option forward, and it's like, hey, pony up the picks, or pony up the money, because I'm going to wind up going to the Jets. If that's the case, if he wound up using us the whole time, and the Jets have no tabs on Rodgers, and then Jimmy G goes to the Raiders, oh, God, you're going to lose our minds. I really hope this isn't what's going on. Return of the Jedi. Rusty Spooner says, back to being the same old Jets again. Shake my head. What the fuck? Good job helping out Green Bay. Shake my head. Trade Woody Johnson ASAP. Look, if they don't get Rodgers now and they allowed Carr to walk, that is egg on the face of your organization. Now, maybe we find out that the Jets are in on Lamar Jackson, and then, maybe we're feeling a little bit better, but, it's got to be Rodgers. Rodgers feels like the answer. It always kind of has felt that way. Travis. Travis says, are we... nope, sorry, I already brought that one up. Let's see. Mitch says, if there is no Rodgers or Lamar, then fans are going to fire everybody banners over Florham Park. Yeah, this fan base is going to lose their damn mind. Especially because a lot of the fan base seemed like they were locked in on Carr, and to watch a free agent go somewhere else when we had the money to be able to pay that free agent more than anyone else to get our solution at quarterback after 50 years of not having one. Oh man, it's going to be a bloodbath. It's got to be Rodgers. There cannot be any way they're allowing this to happen without Rodgers, knowing he's coming here. William agrees. He says, freaky NY Jet fans are too funny. Aaron Rodgers is coming. Carr's move is confirmation. Jason says, all indicators suggest Jets believe in Joe Douglas. I do think they believe in Joe Douglas. I'm just panicked. Short Dog says, hearing it's a 4-year big quarterback money. Yeah, I think it's going to be 4 years, 160. That'll be my guess on where that ultimately ends up shaking up for Carr. So here it goes. Saints signed him to a 4-year deal, says Moose City. Derek Carr officially signing a 4-year contract. Do you guys have the numbers on there? Is it 4 years, 160? That's kind of what I was predicting. We'll see how close I am to that number. Jets Carpetbagger says, hate to say it, Jets drop the ball, shake my head. I am so worried that this is going to be the case. It cannot be. It cannot be. Jets are getting Rodgers. Fingers crossed. Come on. Man. I'm going to have heartburn. Abraham says, I wonder why the Jets didn't take advantage. I guess they were undecisive on who they get. No, I think they know they want Rodgers. I think that's probably the case, and I would imagine them being out on Carr now means Rodgers is likely to be a Jet. I would be very, very surprised if the Jets ended up allowing Carr to walk and they didn't have anything on deck. That would be a really, really poor decision by the New York Jets, but it's not something we haven't seen about. We've seen it. Schluck says, don't forget about Lamar. If he's only 2 first-round picks, I think he becomes an option. If you have to hit him with a zillion picks plus his contract, I don't think he becomes an option. I would be very, very surprised. Jimmy Sag says, you can't blame Carr. The Jets are using him to lessen the asking price for Rodgers, but will you get mad at Carr for not wanting to be used and be option B? No, not at all. I think Carr and the Jets had a mutual understanding that it was mutually beneficial for both of them. I just think the Jets are going to drop the ball if they had no intentions of ever signing Carr before. I think that is definitely a tactical miscalculation on the Jets' part if this all winds up happening the way it does, especially if he doesn't sign for a crazy ton. That would be really frightening. The Martian says, I don't feel like being a Jets fan anymore. Can't take more heartbreak. It's not heartbreak yet. It's maybe heartbreak. It's possibly there, but hopefully not. It might be a celebration. Who knows? Maybe we're popping bottles of champagne by the call-in show tonight. Talk about it. Call-in show winds up happening. You guys are going to go nuts. Baseball Geek 31. Rodgers or bust. Lamar would be a disaster. He stinks. I do like Jimmy G, but based on where we're at, it would be a disappointment. It's got to be Rodgers or bust. I think it's Rodgers, and then I don't think Jimmy G winds up coming here. I think he ultimately goes to the Raiders to play with his former coach, who did have his back when he wanted to, or when he was getting traded to San Francisco. I think it's Rodgers or bust. I'd be very surprised. Lamar is like my panic move because like I don't want to see Tannehill. I'll be honest. I want excitement, even if it's to sacrifice the future. Hennessy Heisman. Well, I don't want to sacrifice the full future, just a few pieces. Hennessy Heisman. JD will go after Lamar if we can't get Aaron Rodgers. I think so. I think that's like the fact that the Jets are still like betting favorites on Lamar is still surprising to me. Like I think Atlanta should be. I could get on board with Lamar. I could do it. Not my first option, but I would get on board. I am no Simone. You're high if you think we're getting Rodgers. If we're not, we're in a world of pain. I really hope we're getting Rodgers. I'm gonna be really upset if we don't. Craig says Rodgers makes the most sense to salvage Zach and win now. Green Bay can't afford Aaron Rodgers. He can't retire. Hall of Fame and Brady same year. Rodgers will trade for Aaron Rodgers. Or Jets will trade for Aaron Rodgers. Jules feels like Green Bay can get more from us now that Derek Carr is off the table. Yes, but I don't know how much leverage it actually is. Unless the Packers are willing to open up their trade to the NFC, which I don't know why they wouldn't. You're expecting Rodgers to only be there for 2 years, so like who cares if he beats you in 2 years of evaluation while you have Jordan Love? The whole fact that they only want to send him to the AFC seems bonkers to me. But if it's opened up to the AFC, are the Dolphins an option? I think the Dolphins should be a very big option for Aaron Rodgers. That's where I would want to go. No state income tax. But yeah, I think if the Packers were smart, they would pit us against the Dolphins to try and raise their price. Now, the nice thing is the Dolphins don't have any draft picks. So the Jets can offer their second-round pick, and if it's the Jets and Dolphins, the second-round pick is the highest pick they can get. The Dolphins would have to do some other maneuvering in order to beat the Jets in terms of draft selection. So do I think it raises the price on Derek Carr? Derek Carr may be signing because the price is already figured out for Aaron Rodgers. That might be it might be a handshake agreement behind closed doors. V-Man says, too many fans are pessimistic. If Joe Douglas let Carr go, it's because they have Rodgers' deal done and are finishing up a Rodgers deal. I think that's the case. I think Rodgers is coming here. I would be surprised if it didn't happen that way. Corey 5 Max says, if you think about it, we are in on Lamar if he gets the non-exclusive tag. If he gets the non-exclusive tag, we should be in on him. For 2 first-round picks, like the contract is massive. If you can figure out a way to structure the contract where it doesn't absolutely like annihilate you, I can understand wanting Lamar more than Rodgers because you're banking on a 26-year-old former MVP. It's just a massive salary cap hit. $50 million a year. That's a lot of money. John says, if the Jets don't get a big-time quarterback and the Jets don't play well this season, JD is 100% gone. Yeah, I think they're getting Rodgers. I think Douglas and Saleh are aware if everything went sideways, like if you allowed Carr to go elsewhere and Rodgers was not a very, very realistic possibility, you made a serious error. And I think, while I don't want to make a rash decision if the Jets don't play well this year because of missing out on Carr and miscalculating the Rodgers thing, I could see it. I hope that's not the case, but I could see that, I guess. Kevin says, Rodgers is now definitely going to be a Jet, and Carr knows that. He used the Jets to get more money from the Saints. Yeah, I think that's fine. I think as long as the Jets know Rodgers is coming and they're fine with letting Carr walk and use them as like the catalyst that allows him to get more money, I'm totally fine with that. I have no problem with them using us for more money if we're going a different direction. I think that's fine. Ryan Thompson said, if we get Rodgers, what happens next season when he goes to Antarctica to smoke in an igloo? Hopefully he sends out invites. Will we be bent over a barrel like he has done in Green Bay? Yes, we will. We will be forced. If you wind up going with Aaron Rodgers, you are going in saying, Rodgers, we are committing to you for these next 2 years. We're going to go all in on a Super Bowl. Let's get the guys you want to get. Let's run the offense you want to run. Let's do it your way. We have a defensive-minded head coach. We have your offensive coordinator that you really like. I don't know if there's as much debate next year. I think if the Jets season goes south, maybe there might be. But I do think the Jets are in this same situation of like, okay, well, next offseason, Rodgers could retire. Oh, the offseason after that, okay, Rodgers is retiring. Who's our quarterback? Like, we're still in this perpetual what's going on with the quarterback situation, but at least now you have an opportunity to maybe salvage what you have in Zach Wilson, while also hopefully getting Aaron Rodgers for 2 years. Sean says, if Jets drop the ball on Carr, Rodgers, and Jimmy G, what other free agent signings will the Jets go after since they did not land their game-changing quarterback? If you missed on all the top guys, like let's say it's got to be Lamar. Lamar would be the one you'd have to go for. And if it's not Lamar, I don't know who you go for. Like, I don't think this team should go after a drafted quarterback. Moose City says, I don't know why. I just feel like Rodgers is retiring. It would be such a bad move by the Jets. Unless we find out Carr's deal is like some astronomically high number, then maybe it's like a godsend because maybe you're like, oh, you can't pay Carr some insane dollar amount. James Koch says, thank God we dodged a bullet with Carr, the huge welcome to the Dark Lord of Green Bay. Dude, if Rodgers comes, when Rodgers comes, we're going to lose our mind. Schluck says, what do you think about Brady possibly coming back to play for the Niners? I thought that was going to be what was going to end up happening anyway. I'm shocked that he actually retired. I don't think he comes out of retirement, but in the event that like a team needed him because they didn't have a quarterback to start, San Francisco is the team that could lure him back, I think. Matt L. says, what will the discussion be like in a year when we miss out on Aaron Rodgers and Carr balls out? If that's the case, it is going to be a bloodbath. One Jets drive, fans are going to go nuts. You can't have Carr look like an all-pro quarterback and you missed the evaluation on Zach Wilson and on Derek Carr and misread the situation with Aaron Rodgers. Everyone's gone if that happens. I would be very surprised if you allow a franchise quarterback that you had in the building, that you met twice, that wanted to possibly sign with you. Now, we might find out there was never an opportunity for Derek Carr. Maybe he was always going to sign with the Saints. That's kind of the vibe that I had initially, before we started hearing like, oh, the Jets are meeting with him. Oh, there's some like warm and fuzzy feelings here. Who knows? But it would be a very, very bad situation if he balls out and the Jets could have signed him. Fred says, why would Carr sign anywhere knowing what Rodgers will do? Why would Carr sign anywhere? Oh, without knowing what Rodgers will do. Because he may want to make not that Rodgers is going to have a decision. Carr basically had his choice. If he wanted to go to the Jets, it was wait on the Jets if he wanted to go there. If he always kind of wanted the Saints, why not? It doesn't matter. His thing is not going to change too much. Charlie says, as much as I want to believe that the Jets have a deal for Rodgers, this is the Jets' pain. Charlie, you are a long-suffering Jets fan. Chin up, brother. Rodgers is coming. It's going to happen. We're going to manifest this. Manifest the the positive vibes only. Big Frank says, Joe Douglas cannot get the most important position in the draft. Most important position in the NFL right, he has to go. He's gotten so many other things right. I'd be really upset if we wound up letting him go. But if he drops the ball on Carr and Rodgers and Lamar, and we're forced to see Zach next year, I'm going to be a very upset Jet fan. Kevin Lowe says, yes, finally we can get over this loser's mentality and start focusing on the winning route. That's been a popular narrative for Carr and Rodgers, where it's like, you can win with Rodgers. Why would you take mediocrity with Carr? That's what I'm going to hang my hat on. I'm going to say it's all mediocrity with Carr. It's a good thing that he went elsewhere because he's not a Jet now. Flight Right says, I'm hoping the Jets know something and told Carr in advance that they are getting Rodgers. It's Rodgers or God help us. Please help us, football gods. I think we're all in that same boat. We're all praying right there. Jesus Jerry Vodka says, we are dead. Hello, Tannehill. No. Hopefully he goes back to Tennessee. Kev Lowe says Lamar Jackson, Rodgers or bust. Sawyer says a lot of us Saints fans are pretty lukewarm about Carr. I'd rather the Jets get Rodgers for a potential deep playoff push. Yeah, that makes me feel a little bit better. I think Jet fans maybe feel the Jets are a further along team than maybe the Saints are perceived right now, and I think that's why we would have wanted Carr. And not to mention, you guys had Drew Brees for all those years, so you guys know what good quarterback play looks like. The Jets haven't had a good quarterback in a very, very long time. So Carr would have easily set all our franchise records, pretty quickly here. And I guess like maybe the Saints being lukewarm on him makes me feel a little bit better that the Jets may get Rodgers. I hope that's the case. Brandon Frey says, thank God we didn't overpay for mediocre Carr. You never want to overpay for the amount of talent you're actually receiving. That's the whole game of the NFL, right? That's why the NFL draft is so valuable. You get high value positions for very cheap contracts. Ed Henry says, do you think there's a possibility of a draft night trade for Rodgers? No, I don't think so. I think it happens today. Or in the next, it's going to happen today, tomorrow, or Wednesday. I think that's what's going to happen. Because the rest of the NFL is going to want to make the moves they want to make. The Jets are going to want to re-sign their own guys. There's going to be chips that have to move into place and players that are going to have to get re-signed that are contingent on Rodgers being here. So I do think it happens before. I think it happens before free agency. John says, why do I feel so uneasy right now? Milton says, okay, if Rodgers comes here, then what we act like he will definitely lead us to anything. The man is half in, half out. That type of mentality does not win championships. Well, he went into his little hole. Maybe he's determining he wants to be all in. He said if he comes back to play, it's only if he's all in. He's not going to come back just to like go through the motions. And I would imagine the Jets, if they're going to trade for him, are going to make a contingent on him, going to all the off-season activities and things like that he missed with the Packers last year. Mojo Jet says, I can't blame Carr. We kept him on hold for too long, and eventually the caller hangs up. The vibe I get with the whole Carr thing is one of two things. It's either the Jets didn't necessarily want him the whole time. Carr knew it. The Jets knew it. He was always going to go to the Saints or the Panthers. They were trying to leverage the Panthers against the Saints. Then it seemed like the Jets were the best leverage against the Saints. Now the Saints are signing him to the deal he probably wanted when he negotiated it down in New Orleans initially before he wound up getting cut. I don't know if it's necessarily the Jets. I think the Jets did their due diligence, and I think they know Rodgers is coming. I would be very surprised if we were not going to be the top option for a quarterback here. Banja says, well, another bust season. I think Rodgers is going to hold the Jets over a barrel at this point. He knows we have no other options, and I think he's going to suck with the New York media. No, he's going to love the New York media. It's going to be fun. It's going to be like playing with sticks of dynamite. Why not? Have fun with it. The nice thing is Rodgers can't really hold us over a barrel. It would be the Packers. Unless Rodgers is like, hey, I'm only going to not retire and get traded to the Jets if the Jets trade or sign X, Y, and Z also. That would suck. I don't think that's going to happen, though. Brian drops in. Brian says, first time Joe Douglas has dropped the ball. I'm mad, but he's been good to us so far. Now it's Rodgers or bust, and if he sucks here, Joe Douglas most likely gone. This is the first time I feel like Douglas has dropped the ball, but I don't want to say that with any sort of definitive statement because I think Rodgers was plan A, and if they get their plan A, Douglas did not drop the ball. I mean, you can say he made the wrong decision or all the influences involved ultimately made the wrong decision at some point, but I don't think we've dropped the ball until Rodgers doesn't come here. Once Rodgers doesn't come here or we don't get Lamar, then I think it becomes more of a drop the ball situation. Euphoria, thanks, dude, says, we are cooked. We got greedy, and now we will lose draft picks or end up with Jimmy G or Tannehill. Jets are going to jet. Oh, no. Don't talk like that. You're going to make me so sad. Ray, I feel the same way. My emotions are all over the place. Duncan has a good thought process. Can't say JD dropped the ball. It takes two to tango. Yeah, if he was never an option for the New York Jets, then it wasn't us. But if he signed because the Jets didn't offer enough, then it's on him. It's Snoopy says, Ryan, we didn't sign Hackett for his looks. We might have. Robert Saleh, Joe Douglas, bald, beautiful heads. Nathaniel Hackett, bald, beautiful head. There's a reason we signed him. It was for his looks. Not his connection to a Hall of Fame quarterback. Izzy is born. Says, if this was Carr's call, so be it. Rodgers would be a monumental mistake. This could go south so easily. Why would we invite this drama for a guy that has been contemplating retirement? Because he's Zach's idol. Because he's the best quarterback that you could possibly plug into the New York Jets. Because you could get him for very, very cheap in terms of trade compensation for what he is. If you wind up getting Aaron Rodgers for a second-round pick, I would kiss Joe Douglas square on the lips. Second-round pick, potentially for Aaron Rodgers, yeah, I'd be about that. Dave Van Denise? Sorry. The Sleepless Jets at it again. I would have liked Carr at quarterback. Rodgers is playing with us and would likely retire. We're stuck with Zach. Shake my head. Yeah, maybe he wants to make his own decision. And he's like, it would be a great $60 million laugh if I just said I'm retiring and the Jets don't have a franchise quarterback. That's worth $60 million. It could be. That could be what happens. That would be really disappointing, though. Red John drops in, says, do you think one of the top four will fall to 13? No, I do not. I think all four quarterbacks are gone by pick 7. That's why I think Lamar Jackson is going to go to pick 8 with the Falcons. I really think that's going to happen. I think Anthony Richardson ends up going 1 in a trade-up with Seattle. I think Bryce Young goes 2, C.J. Stroud goes 4 to the Colts, and I think Will Levis goes 7 and sits behind Jimmy Garoppolo for a year in Vegas. Danny Dime says, as a Packers fan, hope you guys get Rodgers. I'm excited for the Jordan Love era, and since trading Adams, this whole thing just needs reset. I feel like Packer fans are pretty much done with Rodgers at this point, and it's not that they're not, grateful for everything that happened, but it's just like, okay, we've been through this song and story before. Let's go see what we have in Love. Roll this dice. At least you can plan for the future at this point. You don't have to be sort of held captive by Rodgers. The Jets, on the other hand, I would love to be held captive by Rodgers. It's a good problem for us. NY Jets fan 4 says, apparently the Jets were in it to the end. It sounds like the Saints gave him more money. This is scary. Yeah, if the Jets were in this till the end and we were going back and forth on money and we played this game of like, oh no, this isn't going to look good. We tried to get our quarterback. And now Rodgers knows he was not our top option. Like, now everyone's pissed off. And it's like a big powder keg. Hopefully that's not how that shook out. Daryl Hines says, God forbid, but what if we miss out on Carr? Rodgers retires, Jimmy G signs with Tampa, Lamar stays in Baltimore. Who are we looking at? Tannehill, Brissett, Mariota, or Mayfield? I don't think Lamar stays in Baltimore. I would be very surprised. I think he's absolutely gone. Now it's a matter of who ponies up the picks to get him. If it's an exclusive franchise tag, it's going to cost you a ton of picks and the contract. If it's the non-exclusive tag, then you got to just beat everyone else's contract offer and pony up 2 first-round picks, which if you're telling me 2 first-round picks for Lamar Jackson, that's all you got to give up. And we've been trying for 50 friggin' years to go get a friggin' quarterback, and you can get a 26-year-old former MVP, even if he's got some injury problems. If you miss out on Rodgers, you miss out on Carr, and like everyone else isn't an option. Yeah, I think it's Rodgers, though. I would be very surprised if it's not. Been feeling that way for a while. Garbage Time Fantasy Football says, my gut is we have a trade in place with the Packers and the Jets, and Carr leveraged the Saints for more money. I think that's what happened. But if it is true and the Jets were in it till the end with Carr, that scares me. That makes it seem like maybe we thought Rodgers is not coming here. Scott says, Joe Douglas signs Daniel Jones and the Jets win the New Jersey High School Championship. I would sign Daniel Jones. That's a hot take, but I would totally sign Daniel Jones. If for some reason the Giants couldn't get a deal done with him and they wanted to franchise tag Saquon Barkley, yes, I would go after Daniel Jones. I think his upside is very good. Higher than some other ones. But then you're giving up on Zach at that point, and you're also probably tying your wagon to that. I don't know. I don't know if we can necessarily win the same way he won over there, or perform the way he performed with the Giants. I think Dable had a lot to do with that. Let's see. The New York Bully drops in. Says, I was starting to like the idea of Carr over Rodgers due to Carr being able to grow with our young team, but at this point, we better bring in Aaron Rodgers. Yeah, I was trying to talk myself into the whole Carr thing. Not that I was trying to talk myself into it. There was a lot of rationalization that I could see for why people wanted Derek Carr, why I could want Derek Carr, but I think Rodgers is the better quarterback. You're just getting him at a very steep price with his dead cap hit in 2025. Who knows? Maybe they reworked the contract. I did see something earlier today that the contract is something that's holding up the Aaron Rodgers thing, and the teams teams, whatever they're saying, want the Packers to eat some of that contract. Could you imagine if Joe Douglas gets Aaron Rodgers for a second-round pick and he gets the Packers to take some of the money off the hands too? Oh, man, Joe Douglas, you dog. Corey Washington drops in and says, be nice. If we get Aaron for a second, trade back and get a second, then we won't have lost anything really. That happens. Extend Joe Douglas. Yeah, I completely agree. If you get Joe Douglas to give up a second-round pick and the Packers take on a little bit of the cap hit for Rodgers as well, just to facilitate not getting whacked with an enormous dead cap hit, Joe Douglas should get a statue built out front of him. And on top of that, the number 13 overall pick, if you can trade down like Corey is saying right here, I love it. I don't particularly love making the selection at 13. I like giving up our second round pick for Rodgers, trading down, picking up maybe a player like a safety or one of the next tier of tackles in the first, or even, heck, if you want to trade down to the end of the first and draft the center that you really like and get him on a 5-year contract instead of taking him in maybe the top of the second round, you could do that as well. If you get Rodgers, it opens up a lot of maneuverability for the NFL draft, and I really like that because I would love to move the 13 pick in some capacity. Jets Cubs fan says, take a break, and now this. 12 hours ago, he was leaning to the Jets, and now this. What the F happened? Ugh. He used us as leverage. That's ultimately what wound up happening, unless the Jets were into the end and we just didn't bid high enough to get him. But it felt like it made the most sense for Carr to go to a warm, domed division with his former head coach. Like that, it all seems to kind of make sense that direction. Kyle Kaz says, if Carr got $40 million 4 years from the Saints, should we have matched the offer? It depends if we don't get Rodgers. If you can get Rodgers, I would rather Rodgers than Carr for 40. But if Rodgers retires or goes elsewhere and you missed out on Carr for 40, yeah, then you made a big mistake. We got a Saints fan here, Luke. Luke says, I hate this move for us. He should have went to New York. You have a way better roster. Don't worry, Saints are a mess, and this move makes no sense unless they overpaid. I think it makes a lot of sense for Carr to want to be there. I do think you guys probably paid a premium for him, but I think right now you have the best quarterback in your division, and I think you should be favorites to win the division. So that is a win. Truth be told, thank you for the $2 super chat, dude. Much appreciated. Was there something else attached to it? I don't know if you had any other comment that you want to throw in there. There we go. He says, the Jets are going for Matthew Stafford if they miss on Aaron Rodgers. That, I don't think that's going to happen. I'd be very upset. Jesus. Ryan, your skin is glowing. What moisturizer are you using? I don't know. Becca bought it for me. I get out of the shower and I feel like I'm a dried up mess. We got hard water in Jersey. Glenn Freeze says, no idea what will happen. Not sure what part of Jets history make anybody convinced that the Jets know it's Aaron Rodgers, especially knowing Aaron Rodgers. We don't know it's Aaron Rodgers, but there's so much smoke to this fire that if the Jets wind up missing the ball, Rodgers is going to wind up going back to Green Bay in some stupid, ridiculous thing. Jordan Love is going to go to the Falcons, and then, or maybe he goes to Baltimore, and then the Jets are going to wind up with Lamar. It's going to be some crazy, wacky thing. I don't know. I want the quarterback. Give me something. Ryan drops in the super chat, says, New York Jets should sign Jordan Love and Rodgers. Should go Jordan Love and Rodgers. No, you're not going to bring in both. That would be silly. Silly. Vinny says, don't trust Rodgers with our money, our young guys, to win a Super Bowl. He'll retire and leave us diddling ourselves. As long as he, allows us to diddle ourselves after 2 years. We diddled ourselves for 50 years. I could diddle myself for another 50. Not that I've been alive for 50. You know what I'm saying here. Trey Yoder drops in with his member super chat, says, Ryan, your skin looks nice. Any tips? Thank you. Shooting 1080p on a big screen. That's the tip, right? Moose City. We are getting Tannehill. No. Moose, go back to Alaska. Don't want to deal with that. Do not want Tannehill. Michael drops in and says, oh my God, panic is coming. If Aaron Rodgers is not on board soon, I'm fucking freaking out. It's okay, dude. I understand. I'm on the same wavelength. Holy bananas. Wow. Mutt Viles dropping in a big dick super chat. Holy hell. Thank you, dude. Much, much, much appreciated. He said, wow. So Carr's off the board. Jets fans do be doom and gloom. We still got time for our quarterback to come in and get a Super Bowl win this year. The obvious choice is now we will get Rodgers. If not, it's either Lamar when he gets the non-exclusive tag, or my favorite, Justin Herbert. Go Jets. Mutt Viles, if for some reason Herbert is on the block, yes, by all means go for it. I would be very, very surprised that happened. But if you don't get Rodgers has got to be the favorite. You got to think Rodgers is the one that's coming in at this point. If you wind up missing on Rodgers, then yeah, I do think you probably pivot to Lamar Jackson. I think you cannot go through this next season, if you're Joe Douglas and Robert Saleh, with Mike White as the main option at quarterback. I like Mike White a lot. I just don't think that the health is there. If I'm gambling on an injured-ish quarterback, I'm going with the former MVP that will be electric on the field. And then I'm going to draft a quarterback that maybe can kind of replicate at least the running style of it. That kid Cunningham from Louisville, that might be fun. But yeah, dude, what do you do? What do you do? Mutt Viles, let's oh man, I got a good poll question going on in the chat. You guys are answering this like crazy. So poll question in the chat. The Jets, ... Two options. No Rodgers is coming or dropped the ball. You guys are dead even in the chat. It is 53% drop the ball, 47% no Rodgers is coming. It is amazing. I don't know where most people fall. I mean, clearly it's in the middle. It's absolutely nuts. Dude, I'm panicked. I'm very, very concerned. I love Jimmy Jet says Mutt Viles has a bank. We were calling him Elon Musk Viles for a little bit there. He went back and forth with, oh God, was it Justin Crazy? I think it was Justin Crazy one night. You guys are nuts. Way too generous. It's always appreciated. Jets Forever. Look like he's making people cry in the chat. Says Jalen Hyatt in round 1. Ooh. Steve Avila, round 2. Luke Weipler, round 3. Jamie Robinson, round 4. Interesting. I like Jalen Hyatt. I still don't want to really go wide receiver. I'd rather go with a veteran wide receiver option and then slide down a little bit. I like going safety a little bit earlier. I like Luke Weipler from Ohio State. I think bringing in a Jet fan who also happens to be one of the best centers in the draft, who knows guys on our team in Garrett Wilson and Jeremy Ruckert, that's the guy I would be leaning towards, I think, if you like everything that he provides, because I think he's going to give you that little bit extra because you're playing for the team that you absolutely love. So we'll see. Ill's Life. Thank you. Says Rodgers or nothing. JD, we trust. Hit that like button. Thank you guys. Yeah, we got like over 800 people in here. We only got 100 likes. Come on. If you are panicked like me, hit that like button. If you are confident, like some of you, that Rodgers is coming, hit that like button. If you think the Jets done screwed up and we should be losing our damn mind, hit the like button to show your disapproval with what's going on by helping the channel and getting this a little more visibility. Citybird says, maybe Carr knows Rodgers is coming. That's the hope, right? Oh, my files. Oh, God, I remember that. My girl at the time was telling me to keep matching him. As long as it's Rodgers, Lamar, or Herbert, I'm happy. Emergency case, get Jimmy G, draft Hooker in the third. Now that Hooker's not going to be as out through middle of the season, I think that makes me feel a little bit more okay with him in like the middle rounds. I think he might go a little higher, though, than I feel comfortable taking a quarterback. Moose City says, I wish I could feel optimistic, but I feel like Aaron Rodgers is not coming. It's giving me Tyreek Hill vibes. There are other quarterbacks for sure, but Carr seemed like the best fit. I think Rodgers seems like the best fit. Like just based on everything the Jets want to do and with Zach here and where we're kind of like perceived to be going right now. Like Rodgers clearly wants to go for a Super Bowl. The Jets have that Super Bowl roster right now. I do think Carr felt like a really nice fit because of the personality traits and the long-term stability that he could give you. The Tyreek Hill vibes, I would say, I didn't think the Jets were really in on Tyreek Hill. I think the Jets wanted to raise the price for the Dolphins. Now, it does seem like the Jets were more in on Hill than I initially thought. But I thought they were just trying to jack up the price. Just like I think Miami should be on Aaron Rodgers and try to jack up the price for us. Amp says, how would you react if the Jets got Lamar? I would lose my fucking mind. I see it as like the longest of all long shots. I really don't see Lamar Jackson coming to the New York Jets. But if it happens, yeah, I'm going to lose my cool. I'm going to lose my mind. Vladdy P says, when we are winning games with Rodgers, all you Carr truthers can shut the bleep up. Let's effing go. Welcome, Aaron. Fingers crossed, brother. I'm in that same boat as you. Jets Cubs fan says, as a lifetime Jets fan, I have the impending feeling my summer is going to be ruined by this crap. Please, Joe Douglas, work your magic, please. I have faith. We have put through the ringer so many times. We're going to get the Hall of Fame quarterback. We're going to right the wrong that was done with us. Brett Favre couldn't get us to a Super Bowl. He winds up bailing on us after a year. Aaron Rodgers is going to come here, fulfill that destiny, one-up the guy that he replaced. And the Jets are going to carry off another number 12 with a Super Bowl victory. Gonna happen. Citybert drops in, says, stay positive. Remember, no Tyreek. Gave us Garrett Wilson. What will be? We got this. Now, Garrett Wilson, remember, if the Jets traded for Tyreek Hill, we were giving up 2 second-round picks. So not only are you not drafting Garrett Wilson at number 10, but you're also not trading up for Jermaine Johnson, and you're also not trading up for Breece Hall. So because we did not get Tyreek Hill, the Jets got Garrett Wilson, they got Jermaine Johnson, and they got Breece Hall. Not getting Tyreek Hill might be the best thing that happened to our franchise in a very long time. DJ Bomb says, big mistake. Y'all really want old, washed-up diva queen Aaron Rodgers. Bro is just Brett Favre 2.0, plus they're going to have to sell their future for him. The Jets are not going to have to sell their future for him because the contract Rodgers has, which he has said he would renegotiate, if he keeps the worst-case scenario contract for the New York Jets, right now, if he retires after 1 year, it's a $45 million dead cap hit. Not that bad. You can split it over 2 years. I'm sure he would be willing to renegotiate that where he would officially retire after June 1st. If he plays the second year, the dead cap hit in 2025 becomes $60 million. That is a massive, massive dead cap hit. In this situation, if you go with Aaron Rodgers, realistically, you're probably talking about losing 3 players that you may have wanted to hold on to in some capacity that were drafted by the New York Jets. Are you okay with potentially moving on from Mekhi Becton, Elijah Moore, and Denzel Mims, because I believe if you sign Aaron Rodgers after those rookie contracts expire, I don't think they're going to be back on the team with the Jets. I would be a little surprised because of that really big hit. Now, it doesn't mean it can't happen. The salary cap is expected to explode with the new salary contract, or new salary cap with the new TV contract that came in. And I also, I don't know. I think, if you sign an extension with Brees or AVT or Sauce or Garrett Wilson, all their big money is going to hit 2026 and beyond. So this is really the best option to retain all your guys. Not to mention the last time with Favre, we were number 1 in the AFC at 8-3 before he tore his rotator cuff. And then he basically wanted to retire because he was probably sending dick pics to the to the reporter and knew that was coming down the pipeline, had to get out of there, winds up going to Minnesota, has the best career season of his career after getting traded from Green Bay. So I think Rodgers could be motivated. If you get a motivated Rodgers, a pissed off Rodgers, the last time Rodgers was motivated and pissed off, dude won back-to-back MVPs with our offensive coordinator. Yeah, I'm going to roll that dice all damn day. Banjas says, well, this doesn't feel good. Want to brew some beer this weekend to help relieve some of that stress? Yes. Hit me up, Banjas. I might be around. I do agree that Rodgers will be a good fit to help Zach. That's the only reason I want him. I want him because I want to win a Super Bowl. I think he's the best option as far as the best quarterback we could possibly get in here. Tyrone celebrates 20 months of membership. Thank you, dude. Says the Jets weren't aggressive enough to get Carr, Ryan. Yeah, that's what it seems like. It seems like the Jets were not aggressive enough to get him, but we may not have been aggressive enough because we know someone else is coming. Percy Haskell says, Jedi mind tricks. You don't want Aaron Rodgers. Now, I don't know if that's him wanting to make sure Aaron Rodgers stays in Green Bay, or if that's some other thing. Let's see. Dave the Dude says, I see Elijah Moore going in any deal for Rodgers. It will be this year's second, next year's second, which could conditionally become a first, and Elijah Moore. No, I don't think so. What other team is he going to go to? I don't think the Jets have any other competition right now, or I hope not. William becomes the newest member of the channel. Thank you, William. Use those emojis that you got. You got some new, fresh emojis down there in the chat, and you're going to have something really cool that comes up tomorrow. You guys will find out during the Talking Jets panel for all you members out there. Should be pretty fun. I know Matt and Green Bean don't know what's coming. Just Win Jets says, if they don't get Aaron Rodgers, everyone will be canned. JD misses out on Tyreek Hill this time. Aaron Rodgers is a must. JD has to land an elite free agent. Nope. Because we missed on Tyreek Hill, we got Garrett Wilson, Jermaine Johnson, Breece Hall. There is no issue with not trading for Tyreek Hill. I think Tyreek Hill is a garbage human being, and I don't think I want that type of person on our roster because we can find someone else that's fast and can catch a football. I would rather have pride in my team than have a guy that beat up his pregnant girlfriend. So yeah, screw Tyreek Hill. Aaron Rodgers is a must, though. Completely agree. Jimmy Jet says, oh, yes, Ryan, pissed off Rodgers got MVP, but no Super Bowl. Seriously. Yeah, okay, well, whose fault was it that they didn't get the MVP? I don't know if it's entirely on Rodgers. He's going to get the brunt of the blame because he's the quarterback, but I think the Jets team overall is very, very well positioned to make a run. The NY Bully comes in, says, I agree with Kevin S., but they are an old team without many weapons as we have. Olave, Kamara are nice pieces, but do they have that passed on their offense? I mean, heck, Kamara may go to jail. We don't know what's going on with Kamara. King Blaze says, Garrett Wilson, Elijah Moore equals 1,000 yards plus each. Breece, 1,000 yards plus 1,000 yards receiving. Tight ends and the rest of the wide receivers, 1,000 yard plus. Rodgers, let's get this chip. I hope so. Your lips, God's ears, my friend. Citybird, when you expect Rodgers' announcement, whatever it is. I think we find out today that Rodgers is returning, and I think we find out tomorrow on Pat McAfee that he wants to go to the Jets. I think that's what happens because he told Pat McAfee that he would tell the Packers first what his intentions were. So if he's good with going to the Jets, I think it'll be like, hey, we're coming back. It's going to be this whole news cycle. And then Pat McAfee comes on and it's going to be like, hey, I'm going to announce on Pat McAfee or whatever. And then his buddy gets a ton of views during that. And then it's a whole 2-day thing going on. That would be my guess. Jets Insider says, Hawk, you are correct. Zach played 23 games with an idiot offensive coordinator who couldn't communicate and was over his head. I'm not ready to throw out Zach Wilson yet. We have to pay him for the next 2 years. Why not sit for the next year and a half at least before you have to decide on his fifth-year option and just hope you can groom him to be the quarterback you thought he was at the number 2 overall pick. So as much as we've seen Zach Wilson for 23 games and he has played like utter dog shit, I still don't want to give up on him. I would not draft a quarterback for the next, year and a half. And then in 2024, if you have deemed that you don't want to exercise Zach's fifth-year option and you want to go with another quarterback because one falls to you, I'm all about it. I think Jets are going to have some good options here. And I think Zach is still a viable candidate to be a quarterback at some point in the future. It just may not be super likely. Friday Jones says, Rodgers would divide this team, not a leader, and we need a leader. I think we need to win. I think if Carr were to come here as the rah-rah leader, but we wind up going 1-3, that's even worse. Like, I think with Rodgers, you expect to be able to turn it around at any point. Like, Rodgers allows you to win any game. Carr would give you hope maybe for any game, but I don't know if it's a confidence. FM says, when is the McAfee show with Rodgers? So Pat McAfee goes on from 12 o'clock to 3 o'clock on Tuesdays on YouTube. But Rodgers' segment, I believe, is usually either 1 o'clock or 2 o'clock in the afternoon. So figure 1 or 2 o'clock in the afternoon tomorrow is when we're going to find out where Rodgers goes, maybe, which means tomorrow's Talking Jets panel is going to be friggin' bonkers. And tonight's call-in show, I can't wait to hear what your guys' thoughts are with the call-in show tonight because that's going to be... I feel like a clusterfuck. I got Buffalo Jet fan coming on too, so you guys can vent to all of us. Vinny drops in and says, why would a 39-year-old who played in the cold all his life move to more cold and behind a crappy offensive line when there are teams with decent offensive lines in warm weather to retire in who need quarterbacks? Miami is the quarterback, is the place that comes to mind, right? Like if the Raiders are already out on Rodgers, which is a non-income tax state, with some good weapons, if they're out, if the Titans aren't necessarily in on Rodgers, I don't think the Titans are a better option either. They're a non-income tax state. I think Miami is the biggest threat to the New York Jets, but if they're not willing to eat that massive dead cap hit with Rodgers, it may just be, New York. Not to mention his girlfriend lives in New York. I could see Rodgers saying like, hey, I want to go with the girlfriend over there. When we bring free agents in, any team, you bring free agents in, you bring the wife in as well. You wine and dine them. If wifey wants to move to the city, hubby wants to move to the city. That's what has to happen. So I do think Rodgers is coming to the New York area, and I think it's because he knows if he wins a Super Bowl here, it's going to be far greater than any Super Bowl that he's won. He's going to be that Packers quarterback that won a Super Bowl for the Jets. It's not going to be, Aaron Rodgers, that Packers Super Bowl quarterback. No. It'll be that guy that won a Super Bowl with the Jets. We're going to supersede everything. Citybird says, can you live watch McAfee tomorrow? Are you asking me to live watch it, or are you saying, can you? Yes, you can live watch it. It's on YouTube from 12 o'clock to 3 o'clock. The live chat he has is member only, so you cannot talk in the live chat, but you can sit back and watch it. It's it's my favorite podcast, I think, right now, aside from Talking Jets and Just Jets and the Thursday Thick of It and all the Green Bean stuff and Matt stuff. they're my favorites. Barney Miller says, if we miss Derek Carr and Aaron Rodgers, it's their loss. F them both. We have a great team eventually. Even a healthy Mike White gets us 11 wins and a playoff run. Saints suck. Go Jets. If we miss out on Rodgers and we miss out on Carr, I want the Jets to go for Lamar. I do. I don't know. I know it's a huge gamble, but like, if you had to take a gamble, wouldn't it be fun to watch Lamar. If that's what happens. But I think it's going to be Rodgers. It's got to be that. And my bully says, I thought Rodgers was dating himself. A little self-love's fine. No problem. JR says he did date a girl from Wisconsin. I'm sure he did, but his current girlfriend's from New Jersey or from New York. See? Who dat dude? Carr's life loves New Orleans. I don't know if that's true or if you're just saying that's why he's signing there, but I think that's true. Oh, CityBird says, asking me to watch it and get my reaction on if Rodgers does it. We could do that. I can't, show it. So it would be kind of like me having it on here and us just discussing about what may end up happening. I don't know. We could do something like that. Man, I would lose my fucking cool. Call it Rodgers watch. We'll see. Maybe I'll do that. We'll bring Shay in here. She can kick around on the ground, and we can lose our mind together. Rico the Pup says, I can already envision Rodgers sitting front row at MSG, putting up with Spike Lee's nonsense and getting applause from the crowd. If Rodgers is sitting at MSG and like a decision hasn't been made yet, when do the Knicks play? The Knicks play tonight? If they find out Rodgers is on the trade market and Rodgers is sitting in MSG, or did they play last night? I think they played last night, right? When's their next game? That would be fun. Watch the Garden go nuts. So they play tomorrow. Ooh, yeah. Imagine he's in the stadium at MSG tomorrow and we find out Rodgers gets traded to the Jets while he's watching a game. Whew. That would be fun. Silas says, you could just play the audio. So I don't know so Rodgers is on for a long time. I don't know if I can show the audio as it's going on because I'd have to play it for probably the full half hour to hour that he's on. And I think it'd be more fun if all of us were just watching and it just happened while we were there. I have it recording, so I'll be able to do a reaction and add the video back in after the fact, and you can see the announcement with the but we'll see. We'll see if that's what ends up happening. Oh, no way. I'll hit up my CEO. Aaron is dating his daughter. Okay, I'm going to text you. So I actually know, Banges, you're getting a text right now. Is this actually true? Let's see. Things I do. All right, let's see if he responds back to me. Banges, is that true? Is your boss's daughter dating Aaron? Because we got to get a message out. We will get a message out. Mr. Uglis says, it's the danger zone now. We end up missing Rodgers. Dougie's days are numbered. Joe Douglas's days are numbered. Yeah, I mean, they start a countdown clock, right? There's panic. It's going to be panic. James says, unfortunately, with Carr going to New Orleans, the trade package leverage Green Bay just got tremendous. No, I don't think so, because Rodgers still dictates where he goes. He ultimately has a lot more leverage over the Packers. If he says, I'm not getting traded, the Packers are screwed. They have to move him. So it depends how many teams are in on Rodgers and what it would be worth it, to move him. Rico the Pup says, Jets YouTube got better connects than the beat reporters. Laugh my ass off. We'll see. We'll see if my buddy actually does know Rodgers' girlfriend's dad. That would be really funny. I grew up with that kid, so I don't know if he would comment that without actually knowing that. Kenneth says, Ryan followed the breadcrumbs. Dwayne Brown does not retire. Carr says he's leaning towards the Jets, and all of a sudden he's signing with the Saints. Rodgers' deal is done. I think so. I've been saying Rodgers' deal is done for a while. I think they've had it done behind closed doors. And I thought it was going to be for him and the tackle, but now that Dwayne Brown's coming back, now maybe it doesn't include the tackle and trade compensation got a little bit different. I don't know. Let's see. Oh, no way. Yeah. No friggin' way. All right. So yeah, he's dating his daughter. That's a thing. No friggin' way. I don't personally know him, but I see him around the office a few times. So yeah, interesting. I guess it's a parent company is how that all shakes out. Citybird says, which offensive tackle do you like in the draft again? So I have this whole video that I had planned for the final day breakdown of the combine that I have ready to shoot. I just have not shot it yet, and I'll post it. But with all this stuff coming on, it's, obviously this is the topic to talk about. I still think if we're taking the pick at 13, Broderick Jones seems like the one that makes the most sense. He was in the SEC, he faced the best defenders. He gives vibes of DeBrickashaw Ferguson, which is kind of nice. And I think that he tested really well at the combine. He seems to have checked a lot of boxes there. Paris Johnson doesn't seem like he participated at all. I don't know if he's just doing his pro day, like a lot of the Ohio State guys might be doing. Like Jackson Smith, I don't know if he's going to be doing the 40 there either. But offensive tackle-wise, there's a few I like. I think Broderick Jones, Paris Johnson, or Skronsky, either one of those three would be fine at 13. In a trade-down situation, there's a few other offensive linemen I like as well. DeJuan Jones is interesting. The kid Freeland from BYU is interesting. He's like 6'7" and like fast. He would be interesting as well. But I don't know. I think it's going to be first round. Brian Bogan says, just join the stream. Theory, we sign Aaron Rodgers. Carr signs with New Orleans for 2 years. After Aaron Rodgers retires, Carr comes here for 3 straight New York Jets Super Bowls. Yeah, maybe there's like some backdoor deal where it's like, hey, Carr, sign as much as you can for 2 years with the Saints. After Rodgers, we'll make that decision. We rolling with Zachy Poo. Or we going with you? Probably not. Tyrone says, Ryan, do you think Aaron Rodgers staying with Green Bay because it's $60 million on the table if he stays with Green Bay, bro? No, he's getting $60 million regardless of where he goes. It does not matter. He plays this year, $60 million is coming with him. It just means there's a bigger dead cap hit for the Packers based on when he gets traded. And actually, if he retires, I think it's an even higher dead cap hit. So they want him to not retire, and they want him to be traded. That's how it works out for them. Yeah, I think Rodgers is coming here. I'm reading the tea leaves. Edward says, if this thing with Rodgers is not a done deal, then losing Carr is a major F up. Yep. Completely agree. Rob V says, anybody who thinks we are better off with Carr than Rodgers is a bug out. I could care less about anything but a chip. That's the main goal, and Rodgers easily gives us a better chance. I think Rodgers definitely gives you a better chance for 2 years. I think Carr, since you would have had him for 4 or 5 years, may have given you a similar percentage chance stretched over 5 years. But I like the swinging on it for 2 years with Rodgers. That's kind of been my preference recently. I do like Carr. I would have been happy to root for Carr. There was part of me that was hoping it would be Carr, even though my head was saying Rodgers. Citybird. Can you run through the cap math again with Rodgers versus Carr? So it depends what Carr winds up signing. If Carr winds up signing for, let's call it $40 million a year, depending on how that contract is structured with the Saints, I'd imagine it's going to be like a 6 or 7 year deal with money pushed further out because they don't have a ton of cap space right now, so they do have to make that work a little bit more. But if it were to be a contract similar to like Kirk Cousins, where the cap hits are all similar to his annual average salary, then you're talking about double the cap hit for Derek Carr this year than Aaron Rodgers. Even more so, because Rodgers is going to cost you $15 million this year, $32 million next year, and $60 million in dead cap in 2025, assuming he retires after 2 years. If he retires after 1 year, it's a $45 million dead cap hit because there's another bonus a few days after the Super Bowl next year. So you just have to have that decision by then, or maybe the Jets and Rodgers decide to move that timeline a little bit so that way he can decide and make everything work out. But basically, with Rodgers, you're giving up some picks, but you have far more cap flexibility with Rodgers while he is playing to win a Super Bowl. With Carr, you're not giving up the picks, but you have less financial flexibility to sign players, and you're going to be depending on rookies and young players to try and win the Super Bowl, as opposed to maybe some veteran guys that might be a little more hungry. I think the Rodgers situation is the one I like the most. Barney says, if no Aaron Rodgers, Jimmy G, Tannehill, or Mike F. and White. No. I get if you want to do that because you don't want to devote a crazy ton of money or picks to Lamar Jackson. But if I was given the option, if Lamar is an option, Lamar's my third down. I would take Lamar over any one of these quarterbacks. I would give up the picks and the money to do it. Michael! Welcome, Michael, for becoming the newest member of the channel. Thank you so much. You got some new Jet emojis in there. Jet fans, Jet members of the channel. Drop some JETS in the chat for our newest member. Junior Martinez says, thoughts on Marcus Mariota, free agent. I like Marcus Mariota. If we wind up with him as our starting quarterback this year, we have made a serious mistake. It should not be Mariota at this point. Silas says, Titans are apparently shopping Derrick Henry. Sent you a post on Instagram. I'll have to take a look at it. I don't want Derrick Henry at this point in his career. I would be very surprised. James Koch, thank you for the super chat, says, I have a family friend that is close with Tom Clements, Green Bay quarterback coach. Texted him and told him to ask him what's the deal. He said that they love Jordan Love, that he is quarterback one, knows him from his time in Buffalo. Yeah, my feeling is that the Packers want to roll with Jordan Love, and if Rodgers wants to force his way, it's going to be a situation where the Jets are not going to have to give up a whole lot of picks. It's going to be a very, very interesting situation because if Rodgers wants to stay in Green Bay, the Packers are basically going to have to say, hey, look, we got to cut all the players that Rodgers wants to make sure he does not want to play here. It's weird. I don't know how it's going to shake out. I think they'll do the right thing by Rodgers, and hopefully it's not as sticky as we're kind of thinking here. Lise says, Rodgers' announcement on McAfee show is too predictable. I think we'll hear that he's coming back today and he'll talk with the Packers. And then I think we'll find out what team he wants to go with tomorrow with McAfee. Oh, Michael, you're from Germany. Hey, Michael. Newest member of the channel. What time is it over there? Is it a 5 or 6 hour time difference for you? It's got to be like probably close to dinner time. Montauk Whaler says, a number of you are so desperate that you'd be happy with Rodgers as the quarterback. Yeah, I'm desperate. I'd be pumped if we got Rodgers as a quarterback. You're talking about like a top 5, top 10 quarterback of all time. The guy's got a 4-to-1 touchdown interception ratio. And the last time he had our offensive coordinator, the dude had like, in a 3-year span, I think it was 111 touchdowns and like 14 picks or like 17 picks. It's like stupid what he's been able to do. Yes, I absolutely want Rodgers. Sam Aiken drops in and says, Rodgers signs, Jalen Carter falls to 13. What else? I'm interested to see what happens with Jalen Carter, with the whole incident going on, with the reckless driving. I don't like the statement move that you make by selecting someone who made questionable decision-making with such a high pick, but I do think he's the best player in the draft, and you could put him next to Quinnen Williams and try to win a Super Bowl with those two guys for the next 2 years. And then you might just have to tell Quinnen, like, hey, look, like, you got to ball out. Because it's almost like a weird situation where you have like Leonard Williams and now you're trading a player. I don't want that to be the case. I would rather us bring back Quinnen. I think Jalen Carter falls further than that. I don't know. I keep saying that, but I don't know if it's actually going to be true. I could see him falling further. City Bird says, how do you want to address punter and safety? Punter, I don't care. It can be anyone with a pulse, not named Braden Mann. I'm sure you could find someone out there. I didn't even look at like the draft prospects. I don't care. I just want someone. New York Bully. Oh, and safety I prefer to draft. or bring in Jimmy Ward or Adrian Amos. New York Bully drops in and says, Carr is a 2018 Toyota Camry with 15,000 miles on it. Aaron Rodgers is a 1982 Porsche 911 with 95,000 miles on it and bald tires. The Toyota is more stable, but who doesn't want to say they have a Porsche 911? Bring in Aaron Rodgers. Yeah, let the horses gallop, baby. Bald tires, whoo! Dump that clutch. It's peeling out. Love it. Silas Jones! Where is it? Boom, Silas Jones. Thank you for becoming the newest member of the Jets Talk 24/7 family, brother. Join the frequent flyer tier. Make sure you drop some JETS in the chat for our newest member. Silas and Michael, thank you guys so much. Always, always, always appreciate it. Rob V says 100% need a new punter. We literally lost games because of man. We literally lost out on Trevor Lawrence because of Braden Mann. Braden Mann made the tackle on the Rams kick returner that cost us the game, that cost us Trevor Lawrence. Braden Mann is my least favorite punter of all time. Oh, God. He's forever going to be known as that for me, which that sucks. Alex Robinson says, has to be Rodgers now. If we end up with Jimmy G, it's once again the same old Jets. With Rodgers, though, I'm thinking about drafting a quarterback in the 3rd or 4th round. I'm a fan of Max Duggan out of TCU. I don't think the Jets pull the trigger on the quarterback this year. I do think the Jets pull the trigger on a quarterback next year if one falls to them, because they have to decide on Zach's 5th-year option after the draft next year, and then conceivably Rodgers would play an extra year so you can have the drafted rookie sit behind Rodgers for a year. Maybe you trade Zach or cut Zach at that point, or you let Zach play out his 4th-year option or 4th year, and then you do the whole sort of Danny Dimes thing where it's like, all right, we're stuck in this weird situation of we got to pay him, but it's a good problem to have. I don't think we're taking a quarterback this year. I would be a little surprised. Talking Jets with Tigo says, live for an hour. Where is Shay? LOL, just kidding. Becca's home from work today. She's watching Shay right now. I probably have to hop off. I'm going to get myself in trouble. I said I was only going to be doing this for a little bit, and you guys got me roped in. What else we got? Izzy Bourne says, were there no lessons learned from the Nets bringing in Pierce, Garnett, and Harden, KD, and Kyrie? How did that work out for them? This will not end well. I can feel it. Well, the difference is the Jets have drafted all their talent and need a star. With the Nets, they brought in all the stars, and it did not work. Personality conflicts. I feel like basketball stars rely so much on themselves, where football players rely so much on the coaches and the players around them that it's hard to have this similar mentalities. Certain position groups may lead themselves to that mentality, but maybe quarterback could be one of them, but I don't think it's as big of an issue as you're saying there, buddy. Hulk Smasher Mom says, I hope the Jets know they are signing Rodgers. I wasn't sold on him when he decided to go into the darkness. At that point, with no gray area, sign Carr, keep it moving. Now we lost out on Carr. Fuck my life. We'll see. We'll see. Fingers crossed that there's something in the works with Aaron Rodgers. All right, so let's do this. Let's plan. I got the Monday call-in show tonight, 8 o'clock to 10 o'clock. I got Buffalo Jet fan hopping on with me, so we'll be taking your calls. We can hear all the thoughts about Derek Carr. Let's tentatively plan for tomorrow to stream the McAfee show. You guys can watch the McAfee show. I'll watch the McAfee show. We could talk and discuss it while it's going on. If we don't hear anything about it, we'll see. But that's tentative for right now. Possible. We'll see. And then tomorrow night, we got the Talking Jets panel. So we got a lot of shit going on over these next 2 days. Hopefully, we find out who our quarterback's going to be. Guys, thank you so much for hanging out with me for this long. Make sure you hit that like button on the way out if you enjoyed this stream. If you're panicked, if you're excited, if you don't know how to feel and you're conflicted, hit that like button. Show the people that are tuning into this after the fact that it's a worthwhile stream to listen to and have discussions about. But that's going to be it for me. My name's Ryan. This is Jets Talk signing off. JETS! JETS! Jets, Jets, Jets!